Do you struggle with finding ways to have fun and simply enjoy life? Today we're talking about how to take ourselves less serious on this episode of Coffee with Tea. Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Coffee with Tea. I'm your host, Tonia Tyler, and I'm excited because we're going to be talking to Mr. Ralph Andracchio, who's going to help us get over ourselves. He says we take ourselves way too serious. But before we dive more into that conversation, I want to welcome Ralph to the show. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you here, sir. We met
Thank
through
you.
the through a networking event, so I can't do you justice on how you are, who you are. So I'm going to turn the mic over to you. Tell us a little bit about who you are,
Mhm.
and basically, how have you been dealing with this whole COVID and how we're opening up things? So I know, yeah,
Oh
there's
my
a lot
gosh,
of great
starting
things.
off with
So
the deep questions right out of the gates.
right out the gate, sir. So yes, tell us a bit
Man.
about who you are.
Well, thank you for having me again. I'm always appreciative when people invite me on to talk to me. I live in South Philly, and for the past 13 plus years, I think, I have been involved in the comedy community here in the city. I am an improviser and I do improv comedy. And I've traveled all over the US going to festivals and teaching workshops and classes and corporate trainings and all about helping people be more comfortable in their own skin. That's what it comes down to. And as I was trying to find a way to make this a career and make a living off of it, I found life coaching and realized that life coaching and improv share a lot of their DNA together. And I thought, wow, this is going to be really interesting. So I took classes, opened my own business about 2.5 years ago. It's called True Engine Coaching. And there's a ton of overlap in what I do personally with comedy and when I do professionally with coaching, because it's all, for me, it's all about helping people have those aha moments about learning about themselves, learning about each other, being more comfortable in their own skin, self-advocacy, self-respect, self-esteem, self-confidence, and being more mindful and aware of what the future has to hold for you. So that's kind of what brought me to this moment. And to the other question of like dealing with the pandemic and quarantine, I'm a people person and I really enjoy being around people and talking to people in the same space. I love connecting with people. And it's been tough, but it's been tough to be isolated, but also it's opened up new avenues for communication for me because I've done a lot more Zoom calls and Zoom workshops and presentations, and I've met a whole bunch of people I wouldn't have been able to meet face to face. So there's a silver lining to the quarantine. And now that we're coming back out of it, I'm excited to see where we all head as a community, as a society.
Right, right.
Mhm.
I like so I love your story, and I was reading about how you said you love comedy, you do
Uh-huh.
comedy, so
Uh-huh.
and you but you couldn't get paid for it. So I
Right.
mean, and I loved how you transition it. So how did this really, I know you touched on it, being transformational, but like
Mhm.
for those who are saying, how do you follow your true self? How do you first of all figure out who you are, and then how do you figure out like what if you're in alignment with where you're going?
Yeah. And um, I can describe it a couple different ways. I like to think of past as precedent for the future. Like, we have to look back sometimes to figure out how we can move forward. And for me, I walk my clients through that a lot of times of, let's look back and look at what you have done and see if there's any clues about what you can do in the future. And I did that myself and realized I come from a very funny family. Anytime I can remember when we all got together, it was very, laughy and happy and jokey and very loving and it molded who I am, and it made me that kind of person. I don't take myself very seriously, and I am very much the person who wants to get everybody together to laugh and play and have fun. And that looking through what I've done career wise, personal wise, the people I'm gravitate to be friends, it makes sense. It's always things where I'm helping people, I'm getting people together, I'm making people feel better in some way. And so for me, it was taking that exercise of taking a moment, looking back and saying, what have I done? What are the commonalities in everything I've done, like job wise, career wise, relationship wise, people I've hung out with, places I've lived. And it made sense to get into the helping arts, the helping professions and comedy's right there. I mean, people have taken my improv classes for any number of reasons, to get better at public speaking, to be a better conversationalist, just to feel better, in their own skin with themselves, build their self-confidence. So I've always been in jobs where I'm helping people in some way do that. So it was kind of made sense for me to become a coach and see, expand how I help people and the tools I have to help them.
Right, right. I like I said, I was reading up and I was seeing how you talk about how you become honest with yourself. So it was like, but that comes with reflection. So
Mm-hmm.
what do you say to those who are afraid or say afraid to look at the back? Are they missing something by not taking that time to reflect?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, know thyself, that old chestnut, there's a lot of truth to that. We can't really make any concrete steps forward until we know who we are and what gets us out of bed in the morning, and what drives us, what moves us forward. And you can do anything you want in your life, and hopefully we all do, but to really be in alignment with who you really are, and your voice is needed in the world in its whole 100% aligned beauty. And for me, it's when I help my clients, it's in three specific areas of your who, your what, your how. Your who is your values, what gets you out of bed, what's your engine, what drives you forward. Your what is your goals, what do you want to do with your life? And then the how is the actions. How do you actually go about that? And you need all three of those. That Venn diagram where all those overlap in the middle, that's where all the momentum happens. And that's where the good stuff is. And if you just have two out of the three, it doesn't work. So if you oh, I know what my values are and I have goals, but you don't take action, you don't go anywhere. Or if you have your goals and you take action, but you don't really have any values kind of steering the ship, again, it's kind of wasted energy. You can go anywhere. So for me, it's really important to take that look inward and say, who am I really? What do I like to do? Separate from everybody else. I think a lot of times we worry too much about what other people think about who we are, where we're going to go, what we have to say. And the more comfortable you can get with your own voice and saying, no, this is who I am. This is what I want. This is where I want to go. More opportunities open up, and the happier you are with where your path takes you.
Right, right. And I love what you're dropping, and we're going to get more into like the true engine coaching and stuff like that. And how do we, stop taking ourselves so seriously? But this is where I want to leave the point where if you're picking up what Ralph is putting down and you're picking up some juicy gems, please hit that, that like button, give us a thumbs up, follow up with a comment down below so we can follow up with him and see, where we can go with this conversation. So Mr. Ralph, as you're talking about, like, what's couple, give me, if you can, like 3 tips to help people stop taking themselves so serious. Do you have something that they can like put in place now or, consider or something?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Find space in your day to laugh as much as possible. I don't think we make enough room for that. I think, I love doing what I do in comedy because at some point as we grow up, play becomes less important. I mean, it's always important, but I think we're taught it becomes less important. Kindergarten, I tell my classes all the time, kindergartners are the best improvisers because you go into a room of kindergartners and say, we're going to play firemen. They're all over it. Like they're driving the truck already. They have the hat, the dog, they don't care because they don't care. They don't care what anybody thinks. They don't care if, they're going to be funny enough or good enough or smart enough. They just jump in and say, cool, we're doing this. Great. We're all going to play together. And eventually that kind of gets pushed to the side. And, it's more about memorizing facts and taking tests and scoring and like fitting into these categories. And, and I like to reteach people to tap into that child part of them that still wants to play and have fun. Play is a very important part of life. And if you don't get enough of it, you feel it. You're stressed, you're stuck, you're stalled, you're sad, and play looks like different things to different people. Whatever you consider play, great. If you just want to take a walk during the day and just be out in nature, awesome. If you want to, play poker with your friends on a Friday night and have a glass of wine, awesome. Something that's just for you, that you enjoy, that's not work, it's not checking emails, the outcome of it is only that it makes you feel good and you're hanging out with people that you love and you're laughing. Please, at some point during your day or your week, carve out time to do that. I think that's the most important thing I can say to people, is reconnect with that play part of yourself.
Right. I think a lot of people think, I'm like thinking, because a lot of people think play is like wasting time.
Nope. That's the biggest myth about play, is that it's a waste of time. Absolutely not, because we need it. It recharges our batteries, it fills our resiliency reserves, and it teaches us. Play is important. If you think about the animal kingdom and how, we watch National Geographic and it's like, here we see the baby tigers playing with each other and roughhousing. They do that on purpose because it teaches them how to be tigers and how to interact with other tigers and prey and how to pounce and how to hunt. And play serves an important role. And as we get older, play is important because, like I said, it recharges our batteries. It fills our resiliency reserves. It teaches us about ourselves. There's things that you still don't know about yourself that if you play enough, you'll realize, oh my God, I didn't realize I love this. Like, that's for me. When I found improv, I had no idea that I loved improv until I tried it. I said, you know what? I want to try this. I want to play some more and have some fun. And I tried it. I was like, if I didn't try this, I would have had no idea. And my life would have ended up somewhere totally different.
Right.
Yeah.
So I love where you're going with it, because you were curious, is what I'm hearing, right?
Absolutely.
So
yes.
so being like not taking yourself, is that part of like just exploring the curiosity?
Absolutely. I love that you said that. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of cultivating your curiosity whenever possible. Ask questions. I think it goes along with, as we move through the education system, that the play goes away and we're taught to memorize and take tests. The curiosity goes away too. And we're inherently curious beings. We like to ask questions. We like to explore, and we like the puzzles. Our brains love fitting the pieces together. The more you can do that, the better off you'll be, and a lot of times people are afraid to look like they don't know. We're taught to be the expert in the room everywhere we go. I need to know everything. I need to be super self-confident. I need to be the expert on no, first of all, that's impossible, number one. And second of all, it's tiring to walk into a room and say, I have to be the expert in this room and I have to know everything. There's more power in saying, I don't know. Tell me. Let's talk about it. Let's teach each other. Right. So being curious and saying, I don't know the answer to this, I don't think that's a sign of weakness. I think that's a sign of strength. It's saying, like, I don't know the answer, but let's work together. I want to find out. I'll read the book. I'll ask the questions. And then you learn more and you know more, and then you're a better person.
Right. I love it. So you got some good gems, sir.
Thank you.
Let's talk about improv. I mean,
yes.
For those who are not familiar with it,
Mm-hmm.
can you break it down as like, what is the premise behind it?
Absolutely. So improv is getting on stage and putting on a show without a script. We have no idea what's going to happen. So when I get on stage with my team or with my comedy partner and we put on a 20-minute show, half-hour show, hour show, however long, we have no idea what's going to happen. We get some kind of prompt from the audience and then we just run with it and do the whole show is off the cuff. And it can teach you a lot about life, because we don't wake up with a script waiting for us on our nightstand of what the day's going to bring. I mean, if you think about it, we're all improvising every single day. We have no idea what's going to happen. So that's what improv is. It's like everything's made up. It's all about being in the moment, 100% fully and deeply, completely in the moment. And when I'm on stage and I'm in a scene with somebody, my attention can't be somewhere else, because I need to listen to what they're saying, what they're not saying, how far they're standing away from me, what their face looks like, what their body language is, where they're walking. Are they walking towards me? Are they walking away from me? How are they breathing? What's the subtext of what they're saying? All that stuff's happening every second you're on stage. And if my mind's somewhere else, I'm missing it. It's like when you check the speedometer on your car when you're driving down the highway, you'd think you haven't missed a lot. I just checked really quick, or I just checked my phone, or I just checked the radio. When really you're traveling 65 miles an hour, you've missed 300 feet of road just looking away for a second. And that's what improv is. If you look away for a second, you've missed 300 feet of the story that you can't get back. And so for me, it's so enjoyable because I have no idea where I'm going. And it's fun to go, take an audience along for that ride to see, hey, I have no idea where we're going, but let's figure it out together.
I love it. Like, I make me want to take an improv class. I'm telling you,
everybody should.
Yes,
everybody
I think so too. So, Mr. Ralph, we're getting down close, and I always have like a key question that I want everybody to if they don't hear anything else that you're sharing today, what's the one thing you want them to take away from this interview that you're sharing right now?
Oh, man, extend yourself and each other some grace and forgiveness, I think would be number one, because in improv, there are no mistakes. The only way there can be a mistake is if we don't support each other. So I try to extend that into my life as well. We have no idea. I have no idea what you're going through today. You have no idea what I'm going through today. And I think if we can all extend each other a little bit of grace and forgiveness and say, you know what, I have no idea what you're going through, but we're here together. Let's have a conversation. Let's figure it out. I think just starting there, it sounds simple and trite, but really the simplest ideas and the simplest solutions are usually the best. We try to make them complicated and fun and like interesting, but really the simplest answer is usually the best one. And for me, it's just be kind to yourself more than anything, but also extend yourself a little bit of grace, forgiveness, some room to breathe and play. And the more we can do that with ourselves and each other, the better off as a society will be.
Well said, sir. Well said.
Thank you.
Well said. I'm all in it,
Yes.
So this is, I guess I got a couple of questions. People who watch me all the time, it's like, Tonia, this is not your last question, so quit playing. So
I'm ready.
The question I have next, because we're down to the last couple of few minutes. It's amazing how fast 20 minutes can really go by, right?
So quick.
Like you said, that's that 300 feet of road if I'm not paying attention, right?
Yes.
So, Mr. Ralph, where can people find more information about you, your services, and what you do?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. So I have a website, trueenginecoaching.com. That's everything me. So you can read about me, my business, how I help people, my story. There's stuff on there about upcoming classes, my podcast, people I've helped before, all that good stuff. I'm also on LinkedIn, and I'm on Facebook, and I'm on Instagram. So you can find me by searching for Coach Ralph or Info Coach Ralph or True Engine. Any of those will help you find me.
Okay. And can they find information about your improv classes as well? Can they participate?
Yep, that's on my website, and anywhere I have a social media presence, I'll always update people about any upcoming classes or workshops or presentations I'm doing.
Oh, okay. Okay. And I want to say thank you, Ralph. Here's my other unofficial question that I always ask. Yes. Would you be willing to come back and maybe take a deeper dive?
Yes, absolutely. This was so much fun. I love this. Please have me back.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And I also want to say thank you for everybody who tuned in. Thank you, Ralph, for sharing your wisdom and your insight. Absolutely. And think your time. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Mm-hmm. Again, remember, feedback is always welcome. Email us if you have any guest or show ideas. Links that Ralph mentioned will be posted down there in the description box. So please check out them juicy gems below. Again, thank you for watching. Give us a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. If you want to continue getting the insight that Ralph shared and you're enjoying all the site that everybody else is sharing, please hit that subscribe button over there. And remember, take things in stride, go with the flow, and create your own path. And we'll see you back here on another episode of Coffee with Tea. All right. Bye-bye.